Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for another poetry discussion as we are quickly approaching 100 videos in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel. Today's poem comes to us from Edgar Allan Poe. It is a poem that is quickly approaching something of cliche status, I believe. Quickly approaching, I say that, even though the movie that has given this poem cliche status, it's over a decade old. So if you remember this in the theaters, you are an old person. The poem in question is Dream Within a Dream. This is a poetry discussion separate from the poetry reviews that I have here on the channel. So if those are things in which you might be interested, consider hitting that subscribe button. And as always, hitting the like button really helps me out here on the channel, as I hope to spread the words of poetry as far and wide as one meager little person such as myself could hope to do. A Dream Within a Dream by Edgar Allan Poe reads as such. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, this much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it gone? The less is it therefore less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? The movie I was referring to obviously is Inception, and how much does that second stanza remind you of the opening scene to that movie where Leonardo DiCaprio is washed up on the shore? Now, what we have here in the macro of the poem, what's the poem about? The poem is about a speaker who is struggling with the terms of reality. Where do dreams end and reality begin? Now, as someone who has struggled with addiction in my life, I think that there is something of a there is insinuation here. I think, well, maybe not insinuation, but I think that it is possible to read this poem and drag in ideas of addiction. Poe is someone who did reportedly struggle with addiction. And when you are in the throes of addiction, whether you're going through withdrawal or whether you're going through what you think at the time are good times, there is a lot of your life that feels like a dream. There are the times, so for me it was alcohol. When you're drunk, you're not going to remember all that the next day, right? So that feels like a dream. When you are hungover, your mind works in such a weird way that feels like a dream too. And when you are sober, you are longing for the times when you were drunk. You really exist in, when you are in a place where you are addicted, you really exist in the throes of an in-between world. You're drunk or you're going to get drunk. You're hungover or you're going to be hungover. You're sober, and if you're sober, you wish you weren't. So I think that a lot of that, the dream within the dream, is also, you can also think of that as the dream within the dream being losing track of time. If you have, in the throes of addiction, time itself is a real son of a bitch. When you're drunk, you have no idea what time it is, right? You are just living those moments in those moments. The clock doesn't matter. And I think that in dreams, time doesn't matter. You can often time goes fast, time goes slow, time doesn't exist at all in dreams, things like this, right? So I think that we're building a second level here with the idea of addiction. But the thing that I really want to talk about with this poem is that second stanza. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them in a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? I want to go through this sort of piece by piece, because if we're taking this poem as the speaker's struggle with reality and the terms thereof, what we have to be doing at some level is asking what it is that this speaker is grafting on to the real world. If it is that addiction, so I'm going to go with the interpretation of addiction, something like that. Need not be addiction, could be depression, could be any of these things, a manic depressive cycle, could be any of these things, right? I'm going to go with addiction, and you can sort of translate this into whatever interpretation that you like. And I think we're going to be having the same discussion regardless of where you see this being. If you see this as the dream within the dream, being someone who's a writer, right, being addicted to words in that fashion, I think that the interpretations for this poem might be multivalent. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pursue this one here. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore. Does that or does that not feel sort of like not a generic way to say it, but the metaphor there, it feels to me like the daily grind. When you are not prepared for life in the way that life is coming at you, when you are not prepared for life in the way that you have to face the world, it feels like a surf-tormented shore. But here's the thing with a surf-tormented shore. Tonight, it's going to be going. Tomorrow, it's going to be going. All the time. Doesn't matter. Whether you like it or not, whether the sun's up or not, whether it's rain, snow, shine, all of these things. That daily grind of life is happening. And it will happen, or it will happen to you. Right? And that's what those couple lines seem to translate to for me. And I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. Grains, the sand is existing on the surf-tormented shore. So I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. These are the people also tormented by the surf-tormented shore. These are the people with whom I interact on a daily basis. These are the people also being beaten by the surf with me. We're all in this together. These people and me are all in this together. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep. If you're holding a handful of sand, the grains are more numerous than few. But if you intimately know all of that sand, if you intimately interact with all of those people, it does not feel, you are able to exist with, you are stumbling. If you know every grain of the sand that you're holding, if you interact with all of these people in that intimate way, they do feel few. And through life, grains of that sand will slip away from you. People fall away from your life all the time. People will come into your life and they will fade away. For people who might struggle with this addiction, who might be a writer, who might, whatever your interpretation is here, sometimes it's you. And if it's your addiction, if you're drunk all the time, people don't want to be around you. Those people are falling through your hands, falling between your fingers, and into that surf where they're going to wash away. These might be people, and I think the insinuation here is that these people who our speaker, may not be a he, who our speaker wishes to hold, onto which our speaker wishes to hold, are struggling as well. Everyone is struggling. We're all struggling with our own things. We're all struggling in our own ways. We're all struggling on some level, I contend, with an addiction of our own, whether that addiction is to something so abrasive as alcohol, or something so constructively destructive as writing, or something so seemingly inert as television, as reading, as being social. So all these people slip out of your hand. Can I not save but one? Now, this is where it gets interesting to me. Can I not save them? Can I not save them? What does save them mean? Can I not keep them? Save them, like when you save a document on your computer, it's saved. Can I not save them as in save them from their own addiction? The melodrama in our speaker's tone seems to me to lend to the interpretation that our speaker is recognizing the addiction, recognizing the self-harmful ways, recognizing other individuals throwing their lives away, as well as he or she. With that recognition, if you will, in hand, our speaker is wishing to save these individuals on a more holistic level than keeping them. I think that, "O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave?" is telling us, as the reader, that the idea of saving is not simply something personal, is not simply something selfish. That the idea of saving here is, hey, I recognize all of these people in the same way. Look, the same way that our speaker is standing amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, the same way that our speaker is in danger of being washed out to sea, so too are these individuals that he's clasping in danger of being washed out to sea, in danger of being washed out to sea in a way where they might not return, in danger of being washed out to sea in a way that they might not return, which means being completely annihilated by whatever that addiction or problem is. This is where the poem for me is interesting, because we have in that very first stanza, "Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow, you are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream." Yes, I am in this addiction, but you mean something to me. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now. We are there seeing our speaker wish to convey his or her care for someone. Yeah, there's no gender here. So our speaker there wishing to impart on someone else the idea, the knowledge that he or she cares for them. So I think that what we are actually getting, and we also get this sense of persecution. You are not wrong who say that I have lived this life in a dream. This is the idea expressed that our speaker has been persecuted for this before, right? This is not new to our speaker. So because of this, because our speaker knows that other people know about this addiction, our speaker is put in the precarious position of knowing that this addiction or this problem is not something that he or she chooses. But being able to see this addiction, these problems with other people, in other people, is cause for our speaker to struggle his or her self. So I think that in that final stanza, what we're doing is that we are hoping in this, not incantation, because there's only a couple of things that are repeated, but it's a sort of a prayer. In this sort of prayer, what our speaker is hoping is not that all of these individuals he's holding in his hand that are slipping away from him, is not that they're there for him or her, is not that they will remain there for him or her. It is something more selfless than that. It is almost like asking, can't I suffer for these people? In its melodrama, and in the fact that we are ending with the same, is it all that we see or seem but a dream? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? It is almost in repeating those two lines as if the individual is saying, hey, can't I just suffer for people? Which again would get back to, God and Christian ideas, the scapegoat, right? The sins being put upon someone for which they must suffer, and other people will be alleviated of their sin, of their struggle. So I think that is all that I have for this poetry discussion. Again, we're getting close to 100 poetry discussions in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel. I hope to see you back for the next one.